Texas weather, wait a couple hours.
Okay.
It'll change. My name is Larry Rogers. I'm the chairman of the board of the Montgomery County Tea Party PAC. Bob Bagley is our president. Bob. John Works, vice president. Kenneth, where's Kenneth? I can't see. Couldn't see him. Kenneth Ernest, he's our treasurer. We appreciate everyone coming tonight. Yep, the rest of our board members. We have, I'm going to introduce Herschel. I'm going to say it right tonight. Herschel Williams. Kendra Yanaguchi. And Lana Ford. And that's our board of directors. And who did I miss? Debbie. Okay, without further ado, I'll turn it over to our president. We appreciate y'all coming tonight.
Thanks for coming out. I know we'll get the music turned off here shortly. You could be a lot of places, like home and nice and cozy and warm, but it's really not that cold out here tonight. So thank you for coming out.
Only for you, shorts and shirts.
Yeah, it's life in Texas. It'll change in a few minutes. Thanks for coming out. Normally, I've started off saying that I only have 2 rules, but after the last meeting, I have 3 rules now. If you're not willing to interrupt your pastor when he's preaching, then I don't expect you to be interrupting the speakers here when they're speaking tonight. The second rule was, that was the first rule. The second rule, if you want to ask a question of anybody, you have to come up front with the microphone to be able to do it, because we're live streaming and we want the information to be out there for people to hear the questions as well as the answers. And the third rule, thanks to a good friend of mine, is that you need to come up and ask a question and not pontificate. So with that said, do we have anybody that would like to lead the prayer?
I'll lead the prayer, Bob.
Okay. Come on up.
Everybody will bow. Gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you for the opportunity to just breathe today and be here. Lord, we lift up this meeting to you. We ask the speaker that you would give him words to speak. We lift up our leaders to you. We ask, Father, that you would give them wisdom. We ask for those who have not received you yet to receive you today, Lord. Father, let everyone return home safe and sound today. And we thank you for this great country that we get to live in this great state. In Jesus' mighty name. Amen. Amen.
Judge, would you like to come up and lead us in the pledges, please?
Okay, let's pledge allegiance to the flag of the greatest nation on the face of the earth. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now let's honor the flag of the greatest state in the greatest nation. Honor the Texas flag.
I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
So before we bring the speaker up, any candidates that would like to give a minute or two? If you come up front, you can have a microphone.
Stand up, Gwen.
Yes. So I usually go last, but today I'll go first. So I'm Gwen Withrow, and I am your county chairman for the Republican Party of Montgomery County. And I'm so proud to be here with lots of my fellow precinct chairs. I'm running for re-election, and I do have an opponent, so I really would appreciate your support so that we can continue the work that we're doing. We've done a lot of fundraising. Y'all have seen our signs. Y'all have seen what we've done. We have really done a good job of turning out the vote and raising money for the party. So I wanted to invite you tomorrow night. We are having a meet and greet before the county executive meeting at 4:30. We meet at Guadalajare's in downtown Conroe. And after that, we go over and have our meeting at the Sandler Building. And candidates are allowed to speak. We're not timing them really at the Guadalajare's. We kind of let them speak based on the number of candidates that show up. At our tech meeting, we only allow 1 minute, but we will have the candidates speak. And so I think there'll be a lot of candidates if you want to meet them and get to know the candidates. It's very important that you get to know who is on the ballot in March. Do not go to the polls and not know who you're going to vote for. That is very important. So take this time between now and the ballot time in March and make sure that you know who you're going to vote for. We at the office have received a lot of signs from a lot of candidates. So if you have your favorite candidate, check with us at the office and see if their signs are in and help us get those signs out. You can put them in your yard as long as your HOA allows you to. And we will be getting them out to other areas as soon as we can. So I wanted to invite you to come by, pick up your candidates' data so that we can get it out. Thank you so much. I appreciate y'all.
You don't want to stoop down.
Oh, no, thank you. Hi, everybody. My name is Shiva, and I'm here tonight on behalf of Brett Ligon. He is running for Senate District 4 to be your state senator. Those of you who know me because I've worked for Brandon Creighton for the past 5 years. So I can tell you, knowing Brett, that he is a very conservative man, and it's a priority of his to keep this seat the most conservative seat in the Texas Senate. So please consider voting for him this upcoming March primary and in the May special election. Thank you. Hi everyone, I'm Cassie Shuttlecuddy, and I'm here on behalf of Jessica Steinman, who is running for Texas Congressional District 8, which is currently represented by Congressman Morgan Luttrell. She is proud to have earned his endorsement, as well as the endorsements of Senator Ted Cruz and Lieutenant Governor Deanne Patrick, and many of our local electeds and grassroots activists across the district. She has been in this fight as an America First conservative long before entering this race. She was in President Trump's first administration as a senior official in the Department of Justice, and then helped start his think tank called America First Policy Institute, where she has been on the front lines defending our conservative values. She represented girls, female athletes who were stripped of their titles by biological men. She represented parents who were cut out of conversations regarding their child transitioning. She represented our military who were being forced under the woke Biden administration to take the COVID-19 vaccine. She has been delivering on our issues, and I know that she can deliver for us based on her record, because experience matters, and we can count on her to deliver on day one. If you would like to learn more about Jessica and how you could get involved in the campaign, please come find me. We have our first block walk this Saturday and would love to have you involved. Thank you.
Hi there. I am Brittany Gable Hale, and I am running for Justice of the Peace, Precinct 3. And thank you for having me tonight. Glad to be here. I have thought about running for this position for a very long time, since my brother, Constable Ryan Gable, ran his first race. But at that time was not a good time. And I prayed about this for a long time, and I feel like now doors have opened. This is what I've been called to do. I was in education for about a decade. I've grown up in Montgomery County. I taught in Montgomery County. I raising my family in Montgomery County. Anyways, and so it's just the best place to be. I have a heart for service, and I would love to talk more if you'd like to learn more about me. But thank you.
Hi, my name is Ivy Berry. I'm here on behalf of Michael Gutzman. He is running for the 359th District Court Judge. He's sorry he couldn't be here today, but he would love you guys' support, and I'm keeping it short and sweet. That's all I got. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I am Judge Charlene Valdez, and I am running for re-election of County Court at Law number 6. I have enjoyed and had the pleasure to serve as your inaugural judge of County Court at Law number 6 for the last 3 years, entering my last year of my term, and I'm seeking re-election. I'm asking for your continued support. I want to earn your vote. I have a phenomenal record that I've set for CCL 6. I would love to share that with you. We are the #1 leading juvenile court in the state of Texas. Our clearance rates in our civil cases, we're at 107%. We're just doing a phenomenal job, and I would love to visit with you more about that. Thank you so much. Appreciate your vote. Vote Valdez.
Good evening. My name is Billy Madison. I am running for Justice of the Peace Precinct 5, which is in the Magnolia area. I have 37 years of law enforcement experience. 35 of those years have all been in Precinct 5. Christian conservative, Magnolia boy, Magnolia High School. I love to serve. I just want to serve in a different capacity. If you want to learn more about me, please go to my Facebook page, Billy Madison, and I also have a campaign page, Billy Madison Campaign for Justice of the Peace, Precinct 5. If you have any questions, please send me a friend request, a message, and I promise you I will get back to you. God bless and thank you.
I am Lucian Roundtree, and I'm representing Bob Harvey, who is running for the County Commission Precinct 2 position. Thank you. I will briefly tell you a little bit about my friend Bob. He was in the oil and gas industry for several decades, and apparently more than once he drew the short straw because he was assigned to work in third world countries. And in almost every assignment that he took, his predecessor was yanked because third world countries are ripe with corruption. The vendors and people you're doing business with in that country are very corrupt. So the oil companies rotated staff to clean house. Well, Bob is using that experience, and he promised when he addressed this group that he would do the same thing and have the same kind of attitude. If he's elected, the first thing he would do is have an ethics audit. Then he would also have a financial audit. And what that means is he's going to size up every vendor that does business with Precinct 2, as well as the engineering firms and the contractors. so that would get a fresh start. Thank you, and I do ask that you support Bob Harvey. I am curious. I'm curious about our favorability so far. Give me a hand raise if you have a favorable impression of Bob Harvey. I'm not asking for votes, I'm counting hands. Thank you.
My name is Adrian Kaiser. I'm running for County Commissioner Precinct 2. I have experience in welding, landscaping, and several other industries. Most importantly, why I want to do this job, residents of Precinct 2 are not getting what they have voted for. They're not getting what has been promised. If you want better roads, clean ditches, and lower taxes, vote Adrian Kaiser for County Commissioner Precinct 2. God bless y'all.
Good evening. I've had the opportunity to speak with most of you. I'm Brett Jensen. I'm running for Congress, Congressional District 8. And as you can see, many of you know, I'm a capitalist. I'm like you. I'm a business owner and a job creator from the real world, like President Trump. I've been with President Trump since the beginning, and I will continue to be with him. That's why I'm going to Congress, to fight for President Trump. There are a lot of attorneys, there are a lot of swamp people, there are a lot of people from inside the Beltway that are in Congress and want to be in Congress. And if we want things to change, we need to send people who are different, people from the real world, people who understand what it's like for us out living our lives, not part of the government system. So with that, I agree. We should check everybody's record. It's been fascinating for us to do so. I'm Brett Jensen. I'm running for Congress, District 8. Thank you.
Hello, good evening, everybody. My name is John Jose, and I'm with Congressman Wesley Hunt's campaign team. On behalf of Congressman Wesley Hunt, he's fighting for us for Texas, and he's a West Point graduate and served 55 combat missions in Baghdad as an Apache helicopter pilot. And then once he retired, got 3 master's degrees in 4 years, and decided to serve in Congress. And after his first defeat, he ran again and has been serving since then. Since 2022, he was the first candidate to endorse President Trump on his reelection, and he's been fighting with him since then and been a top surrogate on his behalf for the campaign. Just wanted to let you all know Congressman Hunt's going to be in Montgomery County at the Kevin Brady Community Center this Saturday from 11 to 1 for a meet and greet. Put some information on your all's table, and feel free to let us know if you have any more questions, and we're happy to see you there. Again, for more information about Congressman Hunt, please check out wesleyfortexas.com. Thank you all. Have a good evening.
Howdy, my name is John Hafley, and I am currently the judge of County Court at Law Number 1. I'm a former police officer, former prosecutor, owned my own defense firm, and got elected to judge about 3 years ago. I'm running for re-election. I'm also a retired brigadier general from the United States Army. If you needed more information, keep judgehafley.com. Keep judgehafley.com. Thanks.
Hey everybody, Melanie Bush, and as of tonight, I have officially filed for re-election for County Treasurer. Thank you, Gwen, for staying late for Alan and I to get there after he was done with work today. Very excited to run again for my 3rd term, and I hope that you will support me, and I look forward to continuing to serve y'all to the best of my abilities. Thank you.
Howdy everyone, good evening. My name is Braden. I'm here on behalf of Steve Toth for Congress. A lot of you know him, so I don't have a long speech, but if you don't, he's running for Congressional District 2, currently occupied by a gentleman named Dan Crenshaw. So anyway, if you'd like more information about that, come see me. I'll be around. Thanks.
Hi, my name is Martin Etwap, and I'm running for Congress, Congressional District 2. The stakes can't be any higher right now. It seems like everything is like wavering. It's almost like things are about to fall apart. So what does that mean? We need fighters in Congress. I've been fighting for Texas as a constitutional attorney, and we need people who actually understand what the law says. We need people who understand how to write legislation that meets constitutional master. We need people who, when they write legislation, the Supreme Court is going to say, yes, that's good law. And I am that guy. About me, I've worked in, I built cars. I've been a teacher before. I've been a missionary. I've done almost everything that anybody might do. And today I'm a lawyer now, and it's fun. So with all the different practices I've had, experiences I've had, and coming from one of those places that Trump calls a good name, I know I will fight to defend what we have as Americans. Because, you know, that city on a hill, if we don't defend it, it's not going to be there anymore. And I'm that guy who will fight for that. martinetwap.com, and you can find out more about me. Thank you very much. God bless you.
Hi, I'm Lisa Gilmore, and I am not running for office, but I love to help people get on the ballot. So I was asked today to help out 2 Supreme Court justices. They've been appointed by Governor Abbott to replace, and I wrote their names down. One is Justice Kyle Hawkins. He replaced Justice Jeffrey Boyd. And the other is Justice James Sullivan, and he replaced Justice Jimmy Blacklock, who's now the Supreme Court head justice. They need signatures. This one's easy because there's no other people running against them at this moment. We all know there's one more week. But this way, if you're a registered voter, you can sign to help them get on the ballot unless you're a judge. If you're a judge, you can't sign this. So I'll be passing these around the room. If you have any questions, just let me know. Thank you.
So if you sign the petition for them to get on the ballot, does not mean that you're voting for them. You're just giving them the opportunity to run for office. So I'm going to have some of the board members come up and give a little talk about some of the things that they're doing. I'll start off with John Wirtz.
Good evening, everybody. Vice President of Tea Party and a board member, also vetting committee chair. And right now we are right in the thick of it. As a lot of the candidates know, we've vetted up to 16 people so far. We've got 9 more this week. We're trying to get ahead of it because we don't know what's coming in the rest of this week and on the 8th. Which is the last day for filing. It's a week from today at 6 p.m. It's been challenging. It's been a lot of fun meeting people to kind of see where they stand and what they're going to do in their respective positions for the county. The target right now is hopefully we have a Christmas in there because sometimes it just blows right by during the vetting. We're probably going to have a workshop at the end of the month. We'll go over all the candidates again. That's going to be a marathon day. And we're going to try to get everything wrapped up and presented to you guys by January 5th. So we can also, basically, I was told to do a little fundraising here. The voter guide that we send out typically costs a lot of money. More times than not, if we have contested precinct chairs, they'll block walk those for us to the number of voters that they have in their precincts. The rest we have to mail. Those cost 50 cents. Typically, the rest are 10 cents. But you can imagine trying to coordinate all that. And typically we go off of the primaries in 2024 for our list development. So we've got pretty good coverage out there. And we'll be set up when the membership comes back here you have to be a dues-paying member to vote. So I encourage you right now to, if you haven't already, to renew your membership. And I don't know, Stacy, can they renew on the right-hand side where it says join? Okay. You can do that now. Or if you've already become a member, you've re-upped, you can go ahead and donate. So anything else, Bob? Thank you very much.
Thank you, John. John, membership renews every year in January, right? That's the time to do it. So we're giving them an early warning, or now. So if you get in early, that way there's no problem with your vote on January 5th when we do our endorsement vote. Again, I'm up here to ask you to open your phones and look for us on YouTube. Look for Montgomery County Tea Party on YouTube, and please subscribe. We still need a few more subscribers, then we'll be able to live stream on YouTube. We had to relaunch that channel, so we had to start over. But if you'll help us out by going there tonight and subscribing, last time we did this, we got another 15 people. So we're inching our way up there to meet the criteria for streaming. In the meantime, we're on YouTube, and we upload these every evening after we have a meeting. So we're still there. We just can't stream yet until you guys help out and raise our subscribership just a little bit further. Thanks so much.
Kendra, did you have anything you want to bring up? Kendra? Kendra? No? No? Kenneth, I know you do.
Yeah, as the treasurer, always the money guy. So being transparent, we've got about 26K in the bank right now. Our annual expenses for internet, for emailing and all the things that we pay for, we spend about $4,000 a year to run the Tea Party. Everything else goes to voter guides. So we estimate we're going to need about 60K to reach the county. Again, we've got about 28K in the bank, leave 4,000 reserve. We're pushing 25K to be able to reach the county with our voter guides. That's to do the mail out. So if, as John said earlier, you can donate to the left, and it is time. So to vote, it looks like probably the first meeting in January will be our, the vetting committee will make its recommendations. The 5th of January. And just again, to remind you how that works is you've got to be not just a member, but you've got to be a member, meaning your dues are paid, and you have to have been to 4 meetings in the last 6 months to be a voting member. So those ballots will go out on, it looks like January 5th. And so the recommendations will come out of the vetting committee, and you'll be able to vote. Your vote will be whether to release them or not. We won't be able to make any changes to it. Just to remind you, vetting committee will make the recommendation. You guys vote up or down whether we get to mail it out. But the point is, we sure would like to have a little bit more money to cover the printing costs and do some more mailings within the county. That's where it all goes. So, thank you.
During our last meeting, we had some young adults that were here from Turning Point. And we have a committee started. We're going to start working with Turning Point. We've contacted Rick Green from Patriot Academy. We're going to be sending kids to the Patriot Academy. They'll have to qualify for it. And we're looking at another program, and I can't remember what it was. What was it called? We're judging the kids. Patriot Bowl. It was opened up for high schools, but things were kind of slow. So they'll compete, and they'll end up winning scholarships as well. So we're trying to get them involved. You know, the future of our country is our kids. And these kids are great. And we need to keep them motivated. We need to keep encouraging them. We need to mentor them and do whatever we can to bring them on board, because we're all getting old. Somebody's got to take over for us. And it's our responsibility to train them. So, Tom, would you like to come up and speak? You don't have to, but you know.
Well, thanks everybody for having me tonight. My name is Thomas Smith, and I'm running for the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals in place 3. You know, it's nice to have a few minutes beyond just candidate introductions. You go to a lot of these meetings and you only get a minute to speak, and that's really hard as a lawyer, because telling a lawyer they can only talk for a minute is like telling a Democrat they can only vote one time. My wife's been able to enjoy that joke, other than the puns that she actually hears me around the house. So, but thank you. So I was thinking about what to say tonight. I wanted to deviate from what I normally talk about on the campaign trail just a bit. And it goes back to what happened in Washington last Wednesday, when we had 2 National Guard members shot and Sarah Beckstrom was killed. Sarah Beckstrom was from Webster Springs, West Virginia. Little town of about 700 people. And that got to me, it hit me for a couple reasons. One was the original name of Webster Springs is Addison, West Virginia. My wife and our family, we live in Addison, Texas, so I thought that was interesting. But more importantly, the little town where she grew up in Appalachia is really, really similar to where I grew up. I actually grew up in a town called Chester, Ohio. It's about half that size, about 400 people. And when you grow up in a town like that, a lot of the times, most of the time, the only thing that's on your mind is how to get out. How do you get out from that situation? The town that I grew up in was in the 2nd poorest county in Ohio, also called Moco, Morgan County, not Montgomery County. And it would have made the area where J.D. Vance grew up in Southern Ohio look like a big city. J.D. grew up in Middletown, which is about 20,000 people, which had more people in it than the entire county where I grew up. I'm here to tell you that a lot of the things that J.D. wrote about in his book were true. They're still true today. And they're undoubtedly true where Sarah Beckstrom grew up. And that's part of what makes what happened to her, for me, and I think for so many people, so enraging. I'll get to the court here in a minute, but what are we doing when we are allowing people into this country to randomly kill people, kill Americans that are trying to make their lives better? My mom is a public school teacher. In that little town where I grew up, she was also a teenage mother at 15 and 17 in the late 50s, when it's never easy to be a teenage mom, but it sure wasn't easy then. And my dad worked in the oil and gas fields there, and he built the house that I grew up in. And they were married for 44 and a half years until he passed away. But what they did, and I know for a fact, we've seen it in the last few days with the news reports, what Sarah Beckstrom's parents did. They provided for her. They were great role models for her. They gave her a love of country, which my parents did for me. And they gave me a work ethic. When you have those two things, the opportunities that this country gives you are endless, or they have been endless. I was lucky enough to go on to be invited to be the law clerk for the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of Ohio. First person in my family to graduate from law school, and none of that would have been possible without my parents and my upbringing in that same kind of small town that Sarah Beckstrom grew up in. And the problem now is those opportunities are under attack by a new age communism that is defined by evil and will stop at nothing, it seems, to achieve its aims. That's the area that we live in. As I was thinking about how I might speak to you all differently tonight than the times that I've been on the campaign trail in the last 4 months, one thing kept coming back to my mind. It's one 4-word question. Do you feel safe? Do you feel safe in a country where 2 members of our National Guard in our nation's capital can be randomly killed? Do you feel safe in a country where a girl on a train in Chicago can be set ablaze? Do you feel safe in a country where another girl, another young woman can be knifed on a train in Charlotte? Do you feel safe in a country where kids at a church in Minnesota can be shot? Do you feel safe in a country where a Christian can be assassinated for his free speech in Utah? Do you feel safe? I've got a long list. Sadly, I've got a long list. Do you feel safe in a country where people overrun our borders, or at least have overrun our borders until President Trump was elected? Do you feel safe in a country where our leaders, our government, brings people over here with a belief system that is contrary not only to our Constitution, but our way of life? And somehow they're allowed to do, at times it seems, whatever they want, because they've cloaked that belief system in religion. Do y'all feel safe? Do you feel safe when evil does not fear the consequences of the law? Do you feel safe when activist judges ignore the laws that are written and passed by your elected representatives and instead substitute their own judgment for it? Do you feel safe when a court, which happens to be this court, strips the authority of the duly elected Attorney General from the authority to prosecute election fraud in the state of Texas and gets rid of a 71-year-old law that was passed by your duly elected legislature? Do you feel safe when a court, which happens to be this court, throws out our felony law banning online solicitation of minor kids by child predators and calls it unconstitutional? And 12 years after that decision, just 6 weeks ago, on October 23rd, this court granted relief to yet another sex offender because they were convicted under that old law. This has been going on for 12 years by this court, everybody. Raise your hand if y'all knew that. That is why this court matters so much. And I dare say that some of the people that are currently on this court, and maybe even some of the people that are running for this court that happen to be my opponents, might just prefer that it stay that way, that y'all don't know about it, that you don't know what's going on. Because you would think that our state's highest criminal court would have 9 strong constitutional conservatives in the state of Texas, keeping us safe and upholding the rule of law. And you would be wrong. What this court has done in the last dozen years or so with regularity is embarrass itself. But more than that, it has endangered us. Now, you have to ask yourself, how did that happen? And I'm here to tell you that in a lot of judicial races, all you ever hear from a candidate is about their resume and their experience. And I promise you, you're going to hear that again during the next 92 days. Let me tell you something. Everybody running for a statewide judicial office in the state of Texas is going to have a really long legal resume. Everybody. The problem is, how do you distinguish those who are political chameleons, newcomers to the Republican Party, many of them, versus someone who can be a dependable conservative that you can count on? Because that's why we are where we are with this court. There are too many people on it that have been political chameleons. And that has to change. And that really has to change in an era where we are less safe than we have ever been. Now, I would ask one other question about whether or not you feel safe. Do you feel safe if someone running in a Republican primary tells you that they're a conservative, but when you actually go look at the record, they spent years working for a Soros DA in San Antonio, Texas, an anti-cop San Antonio DA who, the last time he was in the news about 2 weeks ago, it was when a jury acquitted 3 police officers that he tried to indict arising out of an officer-involved shooting. The jury acquitted them in less than an hour. So would you feel safe voting for someone like that who worked for that DA in a Republican primary? What if I told you that that same individual not only worked for a Soros DA, that Soros DA, but they ran their conviction integrity unit, overturning convictions from prior district attorneys in Bexar County, Texas? And what if I told you one other thing? That current individual works for the judge, is the top lawyer for the judge in the Court of Criminal Appeals, who wrote the decision stripping the Attorney General from having the ability to prosecute election fraud. Those are the kinds of people you get in these Republican primaries, everybody. Suffice to say, if we had 9 constitutional conservatives on this court, or maybe even 7 or 8, I might not be standing here before you now. But I've got a 16-year-old daughter, an 18-year-old son, and I can look down the road based on what I've talked about a few minutes ago, and I can see what kind of future they're facing unless we stand up and do something about it. That's why I'm running for this court. And in the 10 years that I've worked for Attorney General Paxton in the fight to save our country and protect our state, there are some things that I've been proud to do in addition to my legal resume that I think y'all ought to know about, because I think they're indicative of what I would do, what I will do on the bench. As one of 2 lawyers in this state that helped write our ban on sanctuary cities from our office. The other lawyer is now a federal judge appointed by President Trump in the Northern District of Texas. That law is still constitutional today. It is still being tested. Currently, the city of Dallas is under investigation for having violated it. Also helped write numerous laws banning and attacking human trafficking. I'll give you one little creative example that I'm really proud of because we did it really late in the legislative session, and it turned out to be something that was actually used and has made an impact. We put an amendment on a bill, on a human trafficking bill, that basically said, if you are operating a major event in the state of Texas, and I know Montgomery County has major events, Harris County certainly does, and you're going to take state money from the major events reimbursement fund to do that, you have to file your own anti-human trafficking plan from your organization with our office and with local law enforcement 30 days prior to the event, or else you don't get the money. It's up to the governor's office to decide whether or not you get the money. And that actually happened. In I think 2019 or 2020, the F1 race in Austin did not file that plan, and the governor's office denied them the money. The reason is because when major events come into the state of Texas, they bring that crime with them. They bring people from out of the state and out of the country. We already have a human trafficking problem in Texas. Those events make it worse. And so those event organizers need to be accountable to have their own plan. Now, I was an election integrity lawyer long before it was cool. Now it's kind of the thing to do. But I've been doing that kind of work for over a decade. I was in the RNC war room in the state of Ohio in 2012. On election morning, we get a phone call from some of our workers down in Cincinnati. And the report was there were election judges in inner city Cincinnati that were just letting people walk in off the street and vote, whether they were registered or not. That was in 2012, everybody. You can imagine how it was back then and think about what's happened now. I was also an election integrity lawyer in the state of Arizona in 2020. There were a lot of shenanigans out there. And it had not been for the person that I mentioned a few minutes ago, who was Charlie Kirk, winning the state of Arizona for President Trump, that could have happened again. And the reason I bring those things that I mentioned up in the last few minutes is I think it's important for you to know whether it's somebody standing for election to run for judge or to run for any elective office, but actually, really in particular for judge, is to ask those hard questions. You've got this big resume. What have you done? What can you point to? What are your tangible accomplishments besides what's on a piece of paper? And that's more important than ever because judges are our last line of defense between chaos and order in a civilized society. We elect people to go on the bench, and we trust them to be dependable and to not have to think about it or worry about it, but now we do. Every single one of those examples that I brought up can be traced back to an activist judge. The girl that got set ablaze in Chicago, a judge released that guy 72 times, 13 times in Charlotte. 90 sex offenders by this court in the last dozen years. And no one knows about it because they don't want you to know about it. But here's the thing. We have 4 good, solid conservatives on this court now, out of 9. We're 1 away. This is the most important judicial race you will vote on next year. Because with 1 more, we can make this court what it ought to be. We can make this court what it deserves to be. I would say one last thing in closing. see some veterans here tonight. I didn't serve, but my great uncle did. A couple of them. One was a brigadier general in the Pacific. He's buried in Arlington. Another served in Italy, made it home. I had another great uncle in World War I who didn't make it home. He was killed in action and buried in France. I have a special affinity for you guys. You guys are the best of the best. And the guys that were killed in combat, sometimes I think about whether they're looking down and seeing what's happening in our country, and they're angry. And they should be. And we need to think about that anger that they might have if they were here. Because we have the watch that they don't have now. And there are guys that are buried in Arlington, Normandy, here in Montgomery County. At cemeteries in the Pacific you can't even visit. And we owe it to them to do everything we can possibly do to save our country and to protect our state. That's why I'm standing here before you all tonight. And I would ask that if you're so inclined, help me. Come help me. Block walk for me. Tell everybody, this is an important race. We have to change this court. It has to change. We can't have another dozen years of sex offenders being released because of a faulty court decision that needs overturned based on the opinion of 4 judges on the court. We have 4 now. They're saying that case should be overturned. But help me. And I promise you that when I'm on the bench, you will get exactly what you're hearing from me tonight, but you will also have a judge that will come back and talk to you and won't disappear into chambers for 6 years and then just show up when he wants to get reelected again. This county, along with Tarrant County, will decide this election. We'll decide who's on the court. Y'all are the 2 most important counties, Republican counties in the state of Texas. And I would humbly ask for your support. And I really, really am appreciative for the time to speak tonight. Thank you all so much.
Anybody have any questions? Come on up. You missed the rules.
I'm not the only one who wants to know this. Do you by any chance have any signs with you? There are people who drive up to my lot, my home, and take pictures of the signs in my yard. Yeah, it's their voting list. No, I can put them out now.
I do not, but we can get some.
Okay, so how do we do that?
I can get them for you. We have them ordered. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, all right. So the Tea Party will know where we can get the signs.
He'll let me know, but Gwen, what was the date that we're doing the stuffing? Getting all the candidates to bring all of their stuff to stuff the bags for block walking. Catch that. If you need info, let me know. Anybody else have a question?
Thomas, thanks for coming. I think most people know what a JP is Justice of the Peace, County Court at Law, and a District Court. Then you start going up above that. You have Appellate Court, which are 15, I think now, and a Court of Criminal Appeals. What happens when it goes from the District Court to Appeals Court to the Court of Criminal Appeals?
Sure, that's a good question. So let's just say a criminal case in Montgomery County gets decided and tried, and someone's convicted. The defense lawyer then will appeal that to Court of Appeals, which is the 9th District here in Moco. And from there, it can be appealed up to the Court of Criminal Appeals, which, by the way, we're one of only 2 states that has a Court of Criminal Appeals. Oklahoma is the other. Every other state has one state Supreme Court that handles both civil and criminal.
Okay, so January 10th, the Republican headquarters will have literature, signs from all the candidates, and they'll be available to be picked up. And Tom will give me his information, and we can get other signs and stuff brought to our meeting. You still have a table coming, don't you? You want to do that for the Christmas party?
Yeah.
The 15th? Okay. So the 15th, our next meeting, we're going to have a Christmas party. We're not having any speakers. We'll have candidates can come, bring their stuff and talk to people. They'll have tables out here with their literature and stuff. But it's just going to be a fun night. We've got a band that's going to be playing. We've got, plenty of food and everything else. So. Any other questions? I can't believe this. Somebody's got to ask, well, what do you do? What's the difference between this court and the Supreme Court and the type of cases that you do?
Yeah, sure. So, as I mentioned, this is one of only 2 courts of its kind. And one of the unique things, though, about this court is not just that it deals with criminal matters, it can also deal with constitutional matters that are related in a criminal context. So that's how you think about the issue of election and fraud prosecutions, right? And you might think on the surface like, well, that sounds like a civil issue. Well, it does. The problem is, or the difference, the reason it came to this court is because there was someone who was prosecuted under the election fraud law in the state of Texas. And that criminal defense lawyer challenged it, and it made its way up to this court, and that's how it got dealt with. So, that's one reason why, in addition to the obvious in the criminal context, why this court has so much importance and so much power, because you can have those constitutional issues. The online solicitation case that I mentioned, they threw that out on First Amendment grounds, saying that the law that the legislature had passed might conceivably include things like artistic expression, things of that nature. And there was an 18-month gap actually between the time the court threw that law out and the time the legislature passed the fix to it. And the fix, which I actually happened to work on 10 years ago, not knowing I'd be standing here before you now, was very technical in nature. It basically, the current law now reads, a communication made with the intent to engage in sexual activity. That's how it reads now, and it's held up. The previous one that got thrown out said intent to gratify a sexual desire. And you can see how close those are to each other. Governor Abbott, when he signed the fix, said something along the lines of, it's regrettable that we're even having to deal with this. And so, that's an example of, what issues this court can get into. But also say one of the quick thing about that. This court, all death penalty convictions are appealed to this court. it's mandatory. So they all end up, when there's a death penalty conviction at the trial level, they all end up before the Court of Criminal Appeals. One other little historical footnote, since it's since you asked me a question about the court, is that anybody familiar with the name Jacob Rubenstein, otherwise known as Jack Ruby? So Jack Ruby, after shooting Oswald, was convicted at the trial level, and that triggered a series of appeals that ended up before this court in 1966. And this court overturned his conviction because the admission that was taken from the officers who interrogated him wasn't in line with what was at the time U.S. constitutional rules. So they overturned his conviction. They set a date for a new trial, I think in Wichita County, or maybe it was Wichita Falls. But before the trial could happen again, to get a new trial, he passed away. So technically, Jack Ruby died an innocent man. And as Judge Kevin Erie, who's been on the court, is running for re-election too, likes to say, when someone passes away, the court loses jurisdiction over you.
Do you have another one?
Okay, on Thursday, we have at our Eagle Forum meeting, we've got someone coming from Dallas who is going to be talking about the problem of political Islam encroaching here in Texas, in the United States, across the United States. So I'm just wondering if you have anything to share with us about your ideas on Sharia law and what you know is going on, and what is your opinion on how we can battle that?
Yeah, sure. So I alluded to that when I was talking. It should be fundamental in our country that any belief system that is in conflict with the Constitution, the principles with which the Constitution was written, and the way that our country was founded, anything that's in direct conflict with that should be addressed. And so, whether that's cloaked in religion or religious terms or not, it should be understood. And I really think that what we're dealing with now is the result of a lot of weakness on the part of our elected officials over the last several decades. I spent a summer in Israel in 2012. And one thing, I learned a lot over there. One thing I learned was that in that part of the world, the only thing that gets respect, literally the only thing, is strength. That's it. That's it. And if you show weakness, you will get run over. And I don't think we have nearly enough people in elected office, whether it be on the bench, or whether it be in the legislature, the executive branch, all across our country, who are willing to stand up for the Constitution and the way our country was founded, and to be strong in that, and to say, and to be unapologetic about our way of life, and the way of life that we've had for 249 and a half years. And I'm telling you, if we don't stop being weak and get an understanding of that, situation you just alluded to will get a lot worse.
Anybody else? Thank you, sir. Appreciate you for coming out.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Good luck on your campaign. Appreciate it. Well, I don't have anything else. Does anybody else have anything that they want to? Is that better? I'll swallow it. That's better. Okay, so I just want to thank y'all for coming out tonight. We'll be back here in 2 weeks. Again, Christmas party. Dress appropriately. I'll be dressed appropriately. I doubt anybody else will come like this, but if you do, that's great. But I'd like to thank you all for coming out. Have a safe trip home. If you want to make a difference, join the organization and get involved. You don't have to join to get involved, but it has its perks. Thank you.